Hi and welcome to a short tutorial on how to use SoapUI for writing test cases and executing them. SoapUI is a smart tool for testing web services, either SOAP-based or REST. It is also quite a good tool for doing performance testing. Unfortunately, today I do not have a license for the paid version, so we will be seeing the normal SoapUI. So let me open SoapUI in the background, and here before I demonstrate SoapUI, we need to go through the service that we would like to test. I have a very basic service for the demo purpose. This service is built in Java, and this service, what does it do is it books a slot like a table at a restaurant for a person with a name and a telephone number. The input data required here is a name and telephone number and the date on which you would like to book the slot. And this date must be after the current date, that is today's date. So there are several scenarios that needs to be tested over here. Since there is a validation on date, there is surely a test scenario for checking the date. And all the fields are compulsory. So that's another test scenario. Name should not be empty. That's a test scenario. Telephone number, 10 digits, 12 digits, that could be a test scenario. Here I have not created a complex service, it's a very simple service, so I have put only validation on date. And the name is represented as a string, and the telephone number long, date as date time. So by default in Java Web Service, all the dates are represented as date and time. But you could actually change this behavior to only accept date. So and there is only one operation in this web service, and that is book on date. There could be several operations technically, but here in this web service I have only one operation. So what do I do is I copy the URL to the VSDL, open SoapUI. Here you could see that I don't have anything over here. I have an old plain workspace. I right click on the projects and I create a new soap project. Copy the URL over here and name it something. Like here in this case I will name it as booking service. Click OK. Now you could see that under the hood it has created a request for me, and if you look at the request under book on date operation, you can see that the input data is almost there. So I just go and right click on this one, rename it more concrete, say test with positive data. Click OK then. So here you could see the first argument, since whether it's a name, I will just type in the name over here. The second argument was telephone number. Put down some telephone number, but this is not my real number, so don't try to follow that number. The third argument is the dates. The date format in a web service is YYY, that is year, month, date. So I put something in the future, 12, 12, and then T represents the time part. I put it on 12, 12, 12 as well. So when you push this to the server, what you get is a response. Sorry, I missed this part over here when I was explaining about the word service. Is when everything goes well, we expect that it returns a tracking ID or a confirmation. So this is the tracking ID. So in the pro version, what you could do is you could right click over here in this section and you can have assertions. Here in this case, what you would assert is you are expecting an element return. And if you actually hardcode and expect this one, then your test case will be a weak test case, because as many times as you book a table, you get a new ID. So you could only expect that you will get some written element. That you could do by right clicking in this section and selecting assertions in the Pro version. So let's move forward. I would like to clone this request to create other test scenarios. I would say test with invalid date. So let's see what happens if I put an invalid date. We know that 12 was the month, and we know that 13 is not a valid month. I put it this way, that 13 is the month over here, and push this figure. So what I got is unmarshalling error, invalid value 13 for the month. That's good. And now you could actually do the same thing that I told you previously. In the Pro version, right click and you could actually have assertions over here. And let's move forward again. I cloned the positive test, and this time what I would do is one of the validations that I have in the service is test with date before current date. Expand this one, and here you can note that I have 2020, that is in the future. And what if I actually put 2000, that is way before the current date? So when I push this one, what I get is a fault. So if this was a real web service, that is there would have been a real and there would have been a concrete error message. But since this is a demo web service, I don't have any concrete message, but it would say that, okay, what you cannot book a date in the past, something like that. So again, you can have assertions over here in the Pro versions. So this way you build up your test cases and you can have assertions on them, and you could in the end run all of those at once and launch test runner. So here when you say launch, it will run all those test cases. This the idea behind the SOPUI is that it's very simple, and all the other non-technical people can also start using it. You don't have to be a developer to write good test case. I hope the video was helpful. Thank you for listening. Bye.